If you have ever had a child that shares endless facts about their favorite animal or video game, this is infodumping. It might seem like they're just talking, but this is actually one way that neurodivergent kids express love. So in this video, we'll explore the infodumping love language, how it helps kids connect, and ways you can respond to them to help them feel valued. Make sure you don't forget to like and subscribe this video for more insights on supporting kids' unique ways of connecting. Again, this love language is called infodumping, and the origin of this name, it's named after the tendency of neurodivergent kids to share extensive knowledge about a passionate interest. In the mental health field, we would call these fixations. So things that children are very fixated on and they just love and adore them. And here's the thing. Each of us kind of has some of those things. So yes, these are the neurodivergent love languages, but that doesn't mean that only neurodivergent people can express love these ways. And also remember, neurotypical is overrated. There is no person who is completely neurotypical. So if you are with someone and they just love to share with you about their favorite things, and maybe it's not that they asked you a whole lot about your favorite things, but they just love telling you about this thing, it really is a way that they are expressing words of affirmation. It is a way that children can connect by sharing what brings them joy. And it's a vulnerable way of those kids inviting you into their world. Think about that. If there is something that is so important to you, you will want to tell everyone about it, but you'll be careful who you share with about it because it is so important to you. So if you have a child and they are just going on and on and on about their favorite things, how beautiful is it that they have welcomed you into that part of their world? Through infodumping, children can express themselves authentically. They can say, hey, this is who I really am. This is what I really love. This is what I'm really into. This means a lot to me. And they are seeking validation for their interests. They trust you, and that's really what they're trying to show through this love language. And they're saying, all right, here it is. Here's my heart. What are you going to do with it? A lot of times when kids want to go on and on and on and on and on, it can be really hard to just sit there and listen to it. But when you reframe it in that way where they are doing their best to connect with you and share with you, and they want to connect with you and they want to share with you because they want to connect with you, it becomes this beautiful, beautiful thing. This can be expressed in a lot of different ways. I have had kids come into my office and they just want to tell me about a video game. Fortnite goes on and on and on. And maybe the whole hour of our session was spent talking about Fortnite, and they told me every move that they made and every character that they used and what chapter Fortnite is out and how all the latest releases have worked. And they just go on and they're smiling and loving it and sharing. And it's their way of connecting with me. And they've said, here's my heart. What are you going to do with it? I've had other clients who have come to me and other therapists reach out because, for instance, I have one client who there was a therapist who reached out to me and said, I just can't get him to stop talking about this thing that he would always talk about. And it was an appropriate topic. So he was allowed, kids are allowed to share whatever they want, but this one was definitely appropriate. He was okay, but the therapist kept trying to guide the conversation in other directions, and he kept coming back to this thing. And I said, what you got to do is just let him share it. So he came into my office and he shared session after session after session after session, just on and on about the same topic over and over and over. And come to find out, he very much connects with the characters from this thing that he was sharing. And he felt like his story was intermingled with their story. And he wanted to know how I reacted to their story because he wanted to test how I was going to react when he shared with me his story. And it was his way of info dumping. And he said, here's my heart. What are you going to do with it? It could be that they describe a video game level by level to anyone who will listen. It could be that they repeat a specific storyline from a book or a movie, and they're adding in their own commentary about what they think is good or how they would have changed it or whatever it might be. These can be kids who, like me, really enjoy professional wrestling, and so they're talking to you about the characters and how they would have different characters win or who they would want to be as the champion. It could be that they're giving an in-depth history of their favorite sports team or athlete. They might be talking through their daily routine or just the interests that they get to take part in each day. They might describe each type of car they see on the road and name the brand, the model, the color, everything. They might explain the life cycle of insects they've seen in their backyard and say how they watched them hatch and then how they watched them go all the way until they died again. They might talk about a favorite character's traits, backstories, and developments in their favorite show. And they might recall each step in a science experiment or something that they did at school that was very nuanced and very particular, and they want you to know every single piece of it. They're laying it all out there and they're saying, this is my heart. What are you going to do with it? It's so important that when kids are sharing in these ways, that you as a caregiver respond in some certain ways, okay? Because again, this is not just a kid talking about some random thing. It's not them just wanting to go on and on for no reason. They are saying, here's my heart. What are you going to do with it? It is a way they are trying to show you love. And the way you respond is going to tell them how that connection, how you have received their attempt at connection with you. The first and most important thing you can do as a caregiver when you have a child who wants to info dump with you is to show active listening. That means that when they are talking to you, don't be on your phone. Please. If a child is wanting to talk with you about something, put your phone away. In my office, if my phone rings, kids will say, oh, you're getting a phone call. And I'll say, yeah, but I'm with you. I don't answer my phone when I'm with you. And we've got to bring that back to our lives. We have wondered, as adults, we've wondered why children are just always on their phones. It's because they see adults always on their phones. We have to show them active listening if we want them to be able to show us active listening, but especially if they're info dumping, especially if they are trying to connect with us in this way, we have to show active listening. That means looking at them, listening to them, asking genuine, open, honest questions, being interested in what they want to share, not trying to say, oh yeah, well, when I was a kid, no. I'm diving all in on what you want to tell me about this thing. Active listening, not trying to jump to what I'm going to do so that I can respond and so that I can share my thing. No, I am going to be listening to you because me listening to you is me showing you that I see you are trying to show me love and I am receiving that love and I'm going to take in that love. Imagine if someone was giving you a compliment. Because again, remember, this neurodivergent love language is paired with the typical love language of words of affirmation. If someone was giving you a compliment or telling you something good or telling you something positive and you were just typing on your phone and going, okay, it would not show that you are receiving that love that they are sending. With these children, make sure you are paying attention and showing active listening skills. Another thing, as a parent or a caregiver who has a child who is info dumping, is to remember it's okay to set limits to the info dumping. This is important because you want to be an active listener when they're info dumping. It's not just because you don't want to hear about what they want to share about. It is because you want to be able to give your attention to what they want to share. And if you think about it that way, it's not rude to set a limit. You can say, yes, I would love to hear you talk about Minecraft for the next, I've got about 10 minutes. I'd love to hear whatever you want to tell me about Minecraft. Then when that 10 minutes is up, you can say, okay, our 10 minutes are up, but I will listen to you again. I can't wait to hear more about it. So you can set that limit, but it's a limit to say, hey, here's how much time I can give you to be an active participant in this way that you are trying to show me love. It's also okay to say, yes, I would love to talk about Minecraft, and then we need to go do this other thing. So we've got 5 minutes. Tell me whatever you want to tell me about Minecraft. I'm so excited to hear it. And then move on to the next thing. You can also balance the conversation in setting those limits. Again, not because you don't want to hear what they have to say, but because if you're going to be listening, you want to be an active listener. So you can say, hey, you've been talking to me about Minecraft for a while now, and I want to make sure I understand, but I'm kind of getting bogged down. So I can listen about Minecraft for about 5 more minutes, and then we can go do something else, and then we'll set a time to talk about Minecraft again. Do you see how you're setting a firm limit? You are going to follow that limit, but you are able to pick it back up, and you're able to show them it's not because I don't want to hear from you. It's because I want to be an active participant in what you are sharing. And finally, validation is so important. Maybe it is something that you would not have chosen as your passion. Video games are not my passion, but I have kids who come into my office every single day who want to info dump for an hour with me about video games. And let me tell you what, when they are telling me about video games, I understand it is not about the video games. I understand it is about them connecting with me. So I'm going to validate that attempt. So what I can say is, oh my goodness, you know so much about this. Wow. Oh, you've really studied that. Oh my goodness, you know a whole lot about that. Oh, you are the person I know who knows the most about that thing. And validate their passion behind it and their willingness to share it with you. When kids info dump on me, I thank them for their info dump. They info dump, and it could be they went on about an hour about something that was not super important to me, but I could tell it was super important to them, and them sharing it with me is super important to me and super important to them. So what I'm going to say at the end of whatever info dump they give is, oh, thank you so much for telling me about that. Wow, I know a whole lot more about that now. And guess what? Maybe it wasn't important for me to know a whole lot more about that, but I'm still so excited that they were willing to lay their heart out and say, here it is. What are you going to do with it? If you have a child who info dumps, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you don't miss out for more insights like this. And it also helps other people find this information.